Okay. Are we ready to start?
I will start.
Yes.
Question 1. Question 1, they wanted you to discuss the benefits of performance management. The benefits of performance management. How do you tackle this question? I've always been emphasizing on the need to start by explaining what you are about to discuss. When they want you to discuss the benefits of performance management, you start by defining what performance management is. Are you able to see my shared screen? Okay. So performance management is just a corporate management tool that is used to monitor and evaluate employees' work. So once you define it like that, then you also briefly talk about the goal of performance management. Why do we need performance management in an organization? Okay, so that would be like the aim of performance management as you start bringing in the benefits. So the goal of performance management is to create an environment where people can perform to the best of their ability. Now, remember that you want employees to perform well. You want employees to perform well. And for the workers to perform well, they need an environment that can facilitate their performance. You agree with me that sometimes managers want us to perform well. And yet, whenever we ask for what is required for us to perform, it is not there at places of work. Then that is poor performance management. Try to unmute yourself so that you can make comments where you need comments. Just go on the microphone where there's an arrow there and click there. Okay, so that is the background of what is required of you in this question. So now you can begin bringing about the performance of, the benefits of performance management. The first benefit is the fact that it will highlight training needs. As you are conducting performance management, you'll be able to see employees that require training. That is one of the benefits of it. Hello? Please, I prefer seeing my students. So don't go into hiding. I might be talking to myself.
Follow.
Okay, let me just share the screen. We continue. So the next benefit of performance management is the fact that it boosts morale. Are you hearing me? Okay. So what we are saying is the fact as you are conducting performance management, you are able to recommend improved performance. Okay. You are able to, as you are recommending, as you are encouraging workers during the performance management, they feel, you know, one thing that we have come to understand is workers want to be appreciated. Every time they are told how good they are performing, they feel that morale and they feel motivated. So it boosts employees' morale. The next benefit is the fact that you are able to identify the right employees for promotion. It is during the performance management where you are able to identify workers that are, I think, that are ready for promotions, even the transfers. So those are some of the benefits. It will also help workforce planning. As we are conducting performance management, we are able to see how much workforce is available, and then we are able to plan well. It is during these activities. And the last one is employee retention. Hello? Hello?
We were on number 2.
We were on number 2. Not number 4.
Yes, when my phone is off. No.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
When my phone is off.
Okay, let's go back to third. Number 3. Okay. Number 3 is the fact that it helps us to identify the right employees for promotion. So it is during the performance management process that organizations or managers are able to identify those that are eligible for promotion. That is the third benefit. The fourth benefit is to support workforce planning. You are able to see who should work from where and who should work for what. It will help you to plan your workforce during performance management. And the fifth benefit of performance management is increase the employee retention. You'll agree with me that without performance management, employee retention will be difficult. Okay, so those are the 5 benefits that need to be discussed.
Those are the 5 benefits that need to be discussed
for performance management. Is there any question before we go to B?
Is there a question
question B,
question B,
they wanted the 7 tests
they wanted
just cause.
the 7 tests of just cause.
7 tests of a just cause.
7 tests of just
Okay, let me also share the screen for the 7 tests of a just cause.
Let me also share this. It's not a just cause.
Okay,
Okay.
so the first step is about notice.
So the first
So before you impose any disciplinary measure
before you
upon an
impose
employee,
any
the
measure
employees
upon
must
an
be
employee,
notified of the rules and the
employees
expectations.
must be notified of the rules and expectations.
So that is the first step.
So that is
And on the slide, we have explained how the rules and expectation can be communicated to the workers.
how the
That is through employee orientation.
that is through employee orientation.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we move to the second test?
We move to
The law.
the law.
Yes. Yes.
So the second test is reasonable rules
So
and
the second
orders.
test is the reasonable.
Is the sound clear that side?
Is the sound
Yes. So
Okay. So reasonable rules and orders. Now, when you are making or you are formulating the rules and the orders, under this test, what we are discussing is the fact that they should be consistent with the collective agreements or bargaining. You don't put up rules and orders in an organization that are inconsistent with the collective bargaining agreements. That is the second test. Let me quickly go through them, then we will have chance for reactions and questions at the end of it all. So the third is investigation. Investigation must be thorough. Consider all evidence, advantages and disadvantages as you are conducting the investigation. Before you arrive at the disciplinary measure, there should be thorough investigation. And this test number 4 is fair investigation. It is one thing to conduct an investigation, and it is another thing to have a fair investigation. So results must not be foregone. Result must not be foregone conclusion. So we do test assumptions, ensure that there was no biasness in those that were conducting an investigation. Remember, as you are carrying an investigation, you must be objective enough so that as you report your findings in the investigation, you don't impair the findings in a way that you want them to be. You report the findings the way you have found them. That is what implies fair investigation. Step number 5 is proof. Ensure that you have substantial evidence as you bring the investigation results to the disciplinary measure. And number 6, equal treatment. Ensure that as you are taking disciplinary measures, you ensure that what was done previously, or as long as this is contrary to the rules and orders, it doesn't matter on who is involved. So that is the scenario. It must be equal. You will find in situations where there's no equal treatment, the same offense committed by 2 different people, and they're subjected to 2 different judgments. Then that is not in line with the 7-step that we are discussing in administering discipline. And the 7th is the penalty or appropriate discipline. It must be fair, not arbitrary and capricious, or based on emotional response. Don't base your disciplinary measures on emotional responses. Let it be fair and be done accordingly. Okay, so these are the 7 steps of just cause in administering discipline. In administering discipline. Okay, so we continue.
We continue.
Yes.
Question number 2.
Question number 2
Wanted us to discuss potential pros and cons of performance appraisal.
performance appraisal.
Much as we appreciate performance appraisal in an organization, it has got its own setbacks. So this 20 marks was about discussing the advantages and disadvantages of performance appraisal in an organization. I'll be very quick on this one because these are things that we have already discussed during our lecture. So it's just a form of revision. Now, how do you answer this question?
How do you answer this?
The moment you list up the advantage, then you explain how does that become an advantage.
How does that become an advantage?
Let's look at the first advantage. It improves performance. How does performance appraisal improve one's performance? Maybe I can hear this from you. What do you think? How can performance appraisal improve one's performance?
Sir? Hello?
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 You can come again, sir.
I'm saying, how does performance appraisal improve someone's performance?
Someone's performance.
It can improve someone's performance by motivating him or her. The worker might want to work very hard so that when he or she is being praised to get the benefits the bonus, or she can get an award for working very hard.
Okay, that's interesting.
Okay, that's interesting.
But do not connect performance appraisal to the awards and the bonuses that are given to employees. Because there's nothing to do with that.
Nothing that.
Okay, so ensure that
Okay.
you don't connect performance
Okay, so
appraisal
ensure that you
to
don't
the benefits and the bonuses that are given to the employee. Performance appraisal is usually to see how how an employee is performing and contributing to the goals of an organization.
I can't get you.
It's cutting.
Yes.
Okay, let me do this first. Okay, so what I was saying is, do not connect the performance appraisal to the award of bonuses and prizes to employees. It has got nothing to do with that. However, performance appraisal is all about evaluating someone's performance in relation to organizational goal achievement. And the end result that we have seen and some of the benefits we have seen is about promotions and transfers. So basically, that's that. The issue of bonuses and the like may not be attached to performance appraisals. So that's what I was commenting from what you were explaining. Okay, so what we are saying is it improves performance due to the fact that it analyzes and evaluates the opportunity factors, okay, that can facilitate someone's performance. So that's how it comes in. The second advantage is the fact that it helps employee development. As we are reviewing and evaluating someone's performance, we are able to identify development needs of an employee. So that's one of the advantages. Number three, correcting of deficiencies. As we are praising an employee, we are able to identify where he has failed and put up mechanisms to improve where somebody has failed. Career growth. Number four, the moment we are doing the performance appraisal, we are able to see how we can help an employee to develop his career. Promotions, we have already mentioned, talked about them, and motivation, we have already mentioned about them when we are discussing boosting employees' morale. So these are some of the pros that we can get from performance appraisal. And you learn that as we are discussing performance appraisal, certain things will be similar to performance management. So ensure that you're able to see how you can use this knowledge from this area and apply it in another area. It can be very useful. So those are the pros of performance management. Is there a comment or question before we go to the cons of performance appraisal?
Please.
We move on?
We move on?
Yes.
Are you using your earphones?
Yes.
Are you using your earphones?
No. I don't.
Yeah, that's why I'm having the feedback.
Yeah, I'm having the feedback.
Let's get them.
Please.
Hello. Hello.
I'm hearing you. We proceed.
We proceed.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, so we can move to the cons.
Okay, so we can the cons.
We need to understand that it is subject to biasness.
It is subject to bias.
Since it is done by human beings, they can be biased. That is one of the disadvantages of, or the drawbacks of, performance appraisal. We can also talk about contrast errors. So as we are rating, we may not stick to the standards.
So as we are rating, stick to the standards.
We move on.
We move on.
Yes.
Generalization tendency. That is also common in performance appraisal.
Performance appraisal.
This occurs when a rater rates everyone within a narrow range because he or she thinks that the employees are all on the same level of average.
The same level of average.
You'll learn that sometimes when our supervisors are rating us, they can just stick to the certain scores.
Just to the certain scores.
So they'll just give you, if it means 2, 3, 2, 3, just like that. That is what is called
means 2, 3, just like that. That is what is called generalization.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Mm.
So number 4, severity or lenience.
So number 4, severity or lenience.
Okay, on this one, we are looking at a rater or the supervisor. Instead of being objective, he tends to be either too lenient to the people that is rating or too severe, forgetting that there are standards that is looking at to rate the employees. Number 5, sampling error. Instead of looking at all the work that an employee has done, sometimes the supervisor may just sample a small portion of an employee's work, then is able to draw the conclusion. Those are some of the disadvantages that we have. Of course, the 6th one is the regions and the primary errors. Employees' behavior at the start of the appraisal period and at the end can affect the process time. Where instead of the supervisor looking at you from the beginning to an end, sometimes he might just be remembering what you did when you just met and what you did at the end of it all. So those are the things that he's basing on, then he's able to score you. All those things can be a disadvantage. All those things can be a disadvantage. Any comment, question before we go to question number 3?
Before we go to question number 3.
It's clear.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Question number 3 is also a common thing that we have already covered in our lectures. Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the egg theory.
Theory.
So on this one, let me just pick the points that we need to remember, then we're able to expand them if we are to answer an exam questions. First thing first, what is the Maslow hierarchy of needs? Maslow hierarchy is most often displayed as a pyramid. So where we are putting the lowest level of the pyramid made up of most basic needs, and the highest level made up of the complex needs of an employee. So in short, the Maslow hierarchy of needs is a theory that places employee needs in the form of an hierarchy. We start with the basic, then we keep on ascending. Once the lower level is achieved, then an employee moves to the next level as his or her needs. That is what the Maslow hierarchy of needs is. So needs at the bottom of the pyramid are basic physical requirements. They include food, water, sleep, and warmth, all those things. They're the ones that are found there. And if you look, those needs are categorized as physiological needs. Physiological needs. They are at the bottom or as the basic needs. And once these needs are satisfied, an employee does not end here. He begins desiring the next level of needs, which is the safety. So you discuss what is involved in the safety needs. Remember, even when you are working, you are concerned of the safety of your job. You are concerned of the safety of your family, the safety of your life yourself. So that is another need. From there, you move
You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Let's continue. Okay, so we are discussing the Maslow hierarchy of needs. And once you are done with the safety need, there comes the love or belonging need. Here we are looking at friendship, relationships, all those, they are part of a human being. So please don't feel bad when people are coming and they want to make you friends. It is part of the needs of a human being. People need friends. Then from there will be the esteem need. This is the fact that a human being deserves respect, recognition. So please learn to recognize people. It's important. They want to be recognized. And also learn to greet them. It's part of it. They want to be appreciated. Then finally, self-actualization is all about a person becoming who he can be. Those are the needs. So if you are looking at question A, the two things that we have separated, the Maslow hierarchy of needs. If you are able to discuss the Maslow hierarchy of needs, you should not have a problem to discuss egg theory. Actually, egg theory is a fact that he went to Maslow's hierarchy of needs and grouped them into 3 categories. That's how he presented his theory. Is there any comment before we go to the egg theory? So we can proceed to the egg theory. Madam Sharon, you can. Hello, can we proceed?
Yes.
Okay, I've muted the ITEL S31. It's the one that is giving us the feedback. But Mutinta's device is fine. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. That one has got no feedback. ITEL S31 is giving me echo.
Okay.
Thank you. So let's look at the egg theory. Now, what do you bring across when you're discussing the egg theory? You start by telling us that it is a modification of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's the starting point. Because egg theory is not just a new theory on its own. He went to Maslow's hierarchy of needs and he grouped them. That's what he did. So if you're able to see my slide there, that's how you should begin the discussion of egg theory. Then you're able to group them. He came up with 3 categories: existence needs, relatedness needs, and growth needs. So you'll be able to see from the Maslow hierarchy of needs which needs are falling in the existence needs, which needs are falling in the relatedness needs, and which needs are falling in the growth. Are you able to suggest, what do you think? What is falling in the existence needs? When we are talking about existence needs, we are talking about things that a person needs to exist. So going by Maslow's hierarchy, these are coming from the physiological needs. So we talked about shelter, food, those are falling under the existence needs. Then once you have discussed that, you move to the relatedness needs. This is why we talked about belonging, being loved.
Okay.
So physiological and safety, they are falling under existence needs in the egg theory. So that's how you can group them. And once you explain them and give examples of what is falling in the belonging or being loved, then you have tackled the egg theory. Unless if there's any comment or question before we proceed. That's how question number 3 was supposed to be handled. It is all about knowing the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Then from there, divide them into 3 categories as presented by the egg theory. That's the 20 marks you were given.
What about the growth? You didn't say about the growth.
The growth theory under, the growth need under egg theory is the self-actualization under Maslow's hierarchy. So what is falling in the growth needs in the egg theory is what is falling in the self-actualization in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now,
for example,
on the self-actualization, we heard that self-actualization is all about a man becoming whom he can be. I'm sure when you look at yourself, you know whom you want to be. And I believe these bachelor's degree that we are doing, they are one of the things that are taking us to what we want to be. Not so?
Yes.
Yes. So at the end of a human being, there's self-actualization. It's achieving what a man can be. Of course, what we are doing today, we could have done it some time back, but due to other circumstances that made us not to have a privilege to do what we are doing, we have realized that what I have is not what I'm supposed to have. What I am is not what I'm supposed to be. Then self-actualization comes in. I have to get to what I'm supposed to be. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Any other question or comment before we proceed to question number 4?
You can proceed.
So question number 4, I think this one. Has got no much issues. It was just lifted from the way the module is. All you need to know is how to expand these things and practically present them, of course, with some examples. They want you to discuss the many methods of collecting data for performance appraisal. Looking at this question, you'll agree with me that it seems performance appraisal is very significant in our exams. We are just from discussing 20 marks performance appraisal. If you remember, that was in question number 2. So then again, in question number 4, they bring the methods of collecting data that is used in performance appraisal. Now, there are 3 major methods of collecting data. The first method is called objective production method.
Okay.
Yes. Let me see some of the things that
production.
we did. Of course, you'll be able to have time to go through these lectures so that you are able to appreciate and get whatever points that you feel like may be needed in an event that you are to meet such a question. Now, under this method, all that is involved is we are looking at things that are objective, not subjective. So the objective production method consists of direct but limited measures such as sales figure. If I want to evaluate your performance, the only thing is we can use the sales figure if we are in the marketing department. How much sales have we achieved? Then we pick that. So we can collect that data and use it in the performance appraisal. We set the target at the beginning of the year that we are going to achieve so much in terms of sales. Have you achieved that? Or what have you achieved? Then we collect that data. That is objective production method. It is nothing to do with anybody looking at what do I do, what do I get. That's why it is called objective. If you made the sales, people cannot say you didn't make the sales. If you achieved the target sales, people cannot say you failed to achieve the target sales because these are objective things. That's the thing. So the measures used to appraise performance would depend on the job and its duties. Under the objective production, we know your job descriptions, we know your job duties. Then we are able to get the information basing on that. Let me go to the next one, then we allow comments and questions. The second method of collecting data for performance appraisal is what is called happy productive worker hypothesis. Now, what did you discuss under this one? It is a fact that workers that are cheerful, charismatic, that are happy, they are deemed to be highly productive. To some extent, you can believe this. Even in your places of work, you find your fellow workers who are ever complaining, ever unhappy, ever sad. Do you expect them to produce or to perform?
No.
Exactly. So I would advise you, Be cheerful at work. You may have challenges at home when you are coming, but when you get to work, be cheerful, be charismatic. It can be attributed to employee performance. And the last one is what is called the personnel method. Under this one, we are recording the withdrawal of behavior. So if you are the supervisor, you take keen interest. If your subordinate was coming late, as he stopped coming late, you are recording. If every morning you meet your worker is smelling some perfume that comes from a bar, and after talking or after devising, you see that he has withdrawn from that. That is what is called the personnel method. It is just about recording withdrawal behavior by employees. So at the end of the day, as you are appraising, you just look at, but this person used to come late and he has stopped. This person used to smell beer, but he has stopped. This person used to be, so you look at all those issues, which has stopped. Then you're able to rate the employee. That's what they wanted to discuss in question number 4. And that had 20 marks. And I'm sure this is bearable. It's affordable, not so?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't expect a student coming out from an exam with their wrinkled faces.
Yeah, no, they can if that question didn't come.
Okay. So is there any comment before we go to question number 5?
No.
Okay. So question number 5, they wanted you to discuss performance measurement indicators with examples. As I have always been mentioning to my colleagues whenever we are revising, it is very important to demonstrate to the marker that you understand what you are about to talk about. So you don't just bang to the performance indicators. You start by telling us what is performance measurement.
Okay.
In an event that you may struggle to come up with the performance indicators, if you understand what performance measurement is, I think that will be better. So you start by defining what performance measurement is, which is, according to our slide here, the process of collecting, analyzing, and reporting information regarding to the performance of an individual or an organization. That is performance measurement. So it's just the process of collecting data, analyzing that data, and reporting that data or that information pertaining to the performance of an employee.
Regarding the performance of an individual.
Exactly. So that's what is involved. So once you define that, then you tell us the categories of performance indicators. Now, in these categories, that is where you can give examples of performance indicators, because the examiner wanted you to give examples. So the first performance measurement or performance indicator is what is called quantitative indicators.
No, before you go to that.
Yes.
There's where I've seen that you have to also define performance indicators, right? On this, according to the slide.
Yes. So, that is very important.
Performance indicators.
Okay. You also define what a performance indicator is. Okay, you are very right. And then once that is done, that's when you tell us the performance indicators, which are grouped into these categories. We have got what is called the quantitative indicators. All that we know is quantitative. These are indicators that can be presented in numerical terms.
Okay.
And the examples that you can give is what we are just from discussing. Sales figure. Okay? Sales figure. You can also talk about profit figures.
Okay.
Okay? Production units. All those can fall under this.
Okay.
The next category is what is called the qualitative indicators. So these again are indicators that cannot be presented in numerical terms or in numbers. And examples that we can give, these are things like quality of work, okay,
Okay.
management,
Management.
punctuality.
Punctuality.
What have you done to your phone,
What have you done
Matinta?
to the
No, nothing.
Has it started giving us feedback,
That
like the ITEL S31?
No, that one is gone off.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, thank you. Let's continue. It's fine now.
Yeah.
So that's that. And the other indicators are called the leading indicators and the practical indicators. What do we give as examples under leading indicators? Of course, the definition is about those that are able to predict outcome of a process. These are the leading indicators. I'll give an example of a bakery industry. If you are in bakery industry, you will know that we produce quality bread if this process is accomplished. For instance, you need the temperature of 100 degrees and the bread will be in an oven maybe for 30 minutes. So the moment you begin the process, if you see that the temperature is at 80 degrees, then you'll have a leading indicator that you are not going to have a quality bread in 30 minutes. Are we together? Or maybe I'm too fast.
No.
Yes.
It's fine.
So that's the example that you can bring about under the leading indicators. Then the practical indicators,
Okay.
we are talking about those that interface with existing company policies or processes. Now, here what is involved is once you know these company processes, how you do something. For instance, if you are doing the payments, you know that when it moves from this, it goes to this, then from this person, it moves to this. Now, between these processes, there are interfaces. There are other people that are coming in for it to move from one process to another process. So you are able to know if these interfaces have got some deficiencies, you are likely to know that you're not going to achieve the intended objective. That is what is involved in the practical indicators. Unless if there's a question.
I can go on.
Okay. Question number 6 was similar to question number 2. Except the examiner wanted to play with the mind of a student.
Okay.
And I suppose some student could have fallen in the temptation of using the rata errors as some of the cons of performance appraisal.
No.
But please ensure that you separate the two. That's why it is important before you start answering the exam questions, you go through all the questions. Because if you have not read the question number 6, you can use the information that you may need in question number 6 in question number 2. Yes. So under question number 6, they wanted us to evaluate the rata errors. So there are 4 errors that are called the rata errors. Varying standards, recency effect, halo effect, and the Horn's effect. A
You're
student
fast.
must be able to explain these errors. Do we need to explain them? Or maybe we know them?
No, you need to explain.
Okay, remaining with 15 minutes according to the time that was booked. Let's quickly see how summarized we can present this. Varying standards. What do we explain here?
Just go on
We go
to
on?
the other.
Okay, so let's go to question number 7, not so. Okay. So question number 7, they wanted us to critically analyze both internal and external performance issues. This is very straightforward, especially those that are coming from a working background. You know some of these issues at places of work. When they want us to discuss workplace performance issues, what they want are things that are at workplace that are related to the performance of an employee. That's so. If people are coming late, is that good for performance?
No.
No, you are right. So coming late, some people, they leave work very early. By 16:20, people have left work. Is that good for performance?
No.
Those are the performance-related workplace issues. Late or leaves early from work. Too much time spent doing personal things at work, especially you students.
Yes.
Every time you see an opportunity prevailing, I see them running. No, I think let me have the laptop. There's something I want to do there. They are busy with books. Nowadays, women have stopped moving with handbags. They move with backpacks. And you begin to wonder. They have carried books. Okay. Of course, that for me, I think I would credit that. That is better off than those that are spending time on internet, WhatsApp, Facebook. Okay. I don't know with you, but I would prefer that you spend whenever you have free time, get books, go through whatever you can. Believe you me, studying for a mature person like you, 10 minutes, 15 minutes is enough. It will make a difference. Then number 3, inability to handle proprietary information. Most of us in workplaces, we are not keeping information for intended purpose. That's why we have seen a lot of issues on social media. Before a document, before an information becomes official, it is already out on social media. Those are issues. Drugs and alcohol abuse. We mentioned this. Underperformance appraisal. These are issues. People are coming for work drunk. We have heard and seen situations where whenever there's free time, people would even sneak from work just to go to a place where they can take 1 or 2 sips, then they come back for work. All those issues. And finally, we look at theft, stealing, pilferage at places of work. So these are some of the issues that we need to discuss. It is 20 marks, and if you bring about 5 and explain them nicely, you are assured of making progress. It can add value to your marks. Yeah. So that's what we needed to cover under this paper, performance management. So unless there's other thing that we may mention before we still have 9 minutes, then we can end here.
No, it's fine. Thank you so much.
Okay, you are welcome.
Thank you. This These notes,
Yes.
we can have them, or is it
On
possible
YouTube,
that,
yes.
Okay.
is it possible?
Let me just try to upload them to YouTube. Then you can download them and listen to them.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Together with the slides?
Yes. The way it is the way it will come.
All right.
Able to listen and read.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
You are welcome.